Hello, my name is Lizzie Kennedy. I've been an undergraduate tutor at the SVSU Writing Center for 3 years, and I've served as the student coordinator for the Community Writing Center for 2 years. I'd like to welcome you to another SVSU Writing Center video on tutoring writing. Today we're going to talk about directive and non-directive tutoring. Directive tutoring is really about giving someone the answer, telling them what to do. When you are engaging in directive tutoring, you are taking ownership of the writing and fixing it, correcting the grammar mistakes in the paper, proofreading the paper line by line, rewriting the introduction or conclusion. You are being directive. On the other hand, non-directive tutoring, which you'll want to strive for in most situations, really allows tutors and writers to have a conversation about writing. This means that you don't have to be the expert on writing or the person that has all the answers. You and the writer can work collaboratively to decide the best options for the draft, working together. If the writer comes in and doesn't have a draft, it's easy to be non-directive. Your job is to help the student come up with possible subjects to write on and then related topics. Your job is just to ask questions about possible ideas and support what they might give you. You'll probably find yourself doing some mapping as you brainstorm, and you might brainstorm a few possible subjects, allowing the student to ultimately choose what will be their ultimate focus for their paper. And that's what it comes down to. You are helping them discover their options. And what if the writer comes in with a draft? You'll still find ways to be non-directive rather than being in correcting mode. Consider this scenario. You've read the writer's work and you've determined a few areas that you want to discuss, one of them being organization. You could jump right in and say, so you'll want to move this body paragraph up here instead, but that's being directive. Or you could turn this into an opportunity to have a conversation about the writing. What if you said, as a reader, I was interested in this part of the paper. Can you tell me more about your decision to give this information here? Or you could ask, can you tell me why this paragraph goes here? Or you could ask, what are you trying to do in this section? Maybe that paragraph could go earlier in the paper, or maybe the writer needs to build in a stronger transition to show that points are building on one another. Either way, by asking an open-ended question, you are asking the writer to provide the answer. And when the writer articulates the answer, both you and the writer will gain insights into their writing process. One of the best ways to be non-directive during your tutoring sessions is to use open-ended questions such as these. As a reader, I found this section interesting or confusing because of blank. As a reader, I wanted to know more about blank. Can you tell me why you chose to put this information here? What is the purpose of this paragraph or section? Talk to me about blank. What did you want to communicate or achieve here? Do you see how these open-ended questions lend themselves to conversation? So yes, you are being directive in that you have a specific organizational issue that you want to address, but your approach makes this not a matter of right or wrong, but that you have a question about the writing itself. You might think that when dealing with grammar, you'll need to be directive, but grammar can also be discussed in a non-directive way. If a grammar mistake is merely a typo, that might be an opportunity to be directive. If you note, however, a pattern error, the writer, for example, writes a lot of fragments, that might be a place to talk very broadly about their understanding of what makes a sentence. Ask them about their understanding of the rule. If you can help them learn the rule, you're really helping them to become a better writer, rather than helping them make a better paper. Here's an example of when, as a tutor, you can be a little more directive. You'll notice the first highlighted word is merely a typo with the wrong form of its. The second highlighted part is where the writer has inserted a comma where it's not necessary to put a comma. Because these are individual grammatical errors and not a pattern, it's an indication that the writer probably knows and understands sentence rules and just mistyped it in their draft. Therefore, you might be able to be more directive with them when discussing grammar. In this example, however, you'll notice that the two highlighted sentences are fragments that should not be written as complete sentences. The fact that there is more than one sentence fragment in this paragraph likely means that the writer is not simply making typos, but might not completely understand how to write a complete sentence. This would be an opportunity for you, as the tutor, to be non-directive and ask the writer about their understanding of sentence fragments. Now, this isn't to say that there are times when you shouldn't be directive. If a writer has formatted their APA references page incorrectly, or if they don't know how to format a cover letter, it'll probably be easier to just let them know APA-specific rules or show them how to set up a letter. The writer is asking for information from you that they don't know, and no amount of questioning is going to help them understand the answer. And there will be times when you can use a mix of the directive and non-directive. In fact, we use the flowchart on the following slide to help us decide how we are going to progress in a session. This flowchart encourages you to ask yourself what the writer specifically needs. Maybe they need objective information, like how to cite a book in MLA format. Maybe they need something subjective, like choosing an appropriate topic for a research paper. For objective information, you can usually be directive, but for subjective information, you can use non-directive techniques. Sometimes a writer needs something intersubjective, like organization. This means that you can give directive information, such as directly telling them a basic paragraph structure, but also using non-directive techniques to discuss with the writer how they think their information could best fit into that structure. In short, there are times to be directive, but non-directive techniques typically lead to a tutorial that is really a conversation about writing. And non-directive conversation often starts with you asking things like, "As a reader, I found this interesting," or "Talk to me about this." When considering how you want to balance being directive and non-directive in your tutorial sessions, consider these. Think about your own style of talking about writing, or about most things. Do you tend to be directive or non-directive in your conversations? Make a list of possible concerns in a piece of writing and put an I next to the items that you think you could use a non-directive tutoring approach for, and a D next to those items in which a directive approach would be most helpful. What are other aspects of tutoring, such as tone of voice, body language, building rapport, etc., that you think help non-directive tutoring be effective in a session? Thanks for watching this video. To learn more about our SVSU University Writing Center, visit our website svsu.edu/writing center. To learn more about our SVSU Community Writing Center, visit communitywritingcenter.com. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at ccw@svsu.edu.